There are shockwaves going through the Supercars Championship this evening, with heavy rumours that reigning champion Brodie Kostecki is splitting from his winning team Erebus Motorsport. Today I want to break down the news which has come to light over the past 24 hours, share my thoughts on this incredibly surprising situation and what it might mean for the 2024 championship, which is only weeks away. Before we jump into it, I do want to stress that at the time of recording all this is just speculation, although it is being reported upon by some very credible journalists, and by the time I finish filming, editing and releasing this video, further details if not confirmation of the news may have also come to light. Let's start with the news itself. What is going on? Especially if you're new fans of the sport just tuning in for the upcoming season. For a bit of background for you, Brodie Kostecki and Erebus were the drivers and constructors champions in 2023. It was the first time Brodie has won the Supercars Championship as a driver, and it was the first time Erebus won the Teams Championship as well. Now, Brodie Kostecki was contracted to drive for Erebus in 2024, the upcoming season, but the news today is suggesting that he won't drive for Erebus after a falling out with the team. And if the reports are correct, Kostecki may not just be not driving for Erebus, he may not be driving for any team, as his contract may prevent him from driving for a rival either on a full-time basis or even as a co-driver at the Enduros further into the season. We are facing the prospect that the reigning champion for Supercars could be on the bench. It is huge news. And this is in addition to a big change at Erebus, where Will Brown, the other driver in the team, has also departed. That news was confirmed earlier in 2023 with him moving over to Red Bull Racing, the team's biggest rival over recent times. So Erebus are looking at an all-new driver lineup potentially in 2024, with Jack LeBrock absolutely confirmed to be driving one of those cars, and now rumoured to replace Brodie Kostecki is Todd Hazelwood, who was looking like he was going to be doing co-driver duties, now potentially taking a full-time seat in the reigning champion's car. The next question, of course, is what happened? Only weeks ago, this team was celebrating together their incredible accomplishment, taking out both the championships, and now here we are with that relationship, at least on the outside, appearing like it's in tatters. And the simple fact is we don't know at this time. I'm sure with time, all sides of the story will come out and we'll probably get a better picture a year, 2 years from now. But right now, just trying to make sense of this news, which has really caught me off guard, I must admit. There's only really two potential points of contention I can think of. The first is potentially Brodie Kostecki's long-term plans. He's made no secret that he wants to go racing stateside in NASCAR and some of the other series over there, sort of following Shane Van Gisbergen's footsteps to a degree. But that would surprise me if that's the cause of these issues here, because Erebus have been quite supportive, at least publicly, of his long or medium to long-term plans racing in America, to the point where they've even tried to partner up with some NASCAR teams to get him some starts in the upcoming season. Perhaps some tension might have emerged around how soon Brodie wanted to head over there. Perhaps that didn't sort of align with how Erebus might have wanted to hang on to him for a few more years yet. But again, I would be surprised if that's led to a fallout on this scale. The other possibility, and the only other one that's come to mind, is potentially he's just clashed with the culture and the leadership style that's in play down there at Erebus. And there is history of this. David Reynolds was at that team a few years ago, seemingly quite happy for a long part of that relationship, and all of a sudden things backfired and he was on his way out in quite similar fashion to what this feels like as well. We know there's some strong characters in that team. I personally like some of the stronger characters that Erebus bring to the championship from an entertainment perspective, but obviously from a working perspective and being part of that culture, perhaps it just wasn't a fit for Brodie Kostecki. But there's no doubt there's a bit of a concerning trend emerging down there at Erebus, with fantastic top tier drivers all of a sudden making a swift exit towards the door. And then the final question, of course, is what now for Brodie Kostecki, for Erebus and the wider Supercars Championship, because the ramifications of this could be felt far and wide. Starting with Brodie Kostecki, again, assuming all this is sort of factual and comes out to be true in the coming weeks, what does he do? Can he negotiate himself a full-time drive before the season starts? That seems like a tall order. Perhaps he can land himself a spot in the Enduros if the team give him a bit of freedom in that contract land. Does he look and focus towards 2025, perhaps where he might land next in Supercars on a full-time basis with one of the other really strong teams? 2024 I think will be interesting to see how Gen 3 starts to settle and who the real key players are. He may be in quite a strong position to sort of pick and choose where he might want to continue his Supercars career. And then of course, could he just pull the pin and go stateside? Obviously, it's quite late notice for him to put together a racing program, at least as intense as Shane Van Gisbergen has organised, but surely he should be able to get some races under his belt in America and perhaps just focus all his efforts on that side of his racing career. As for Erebus and what this now means for them, understatement alert, it doesn't look good. Not only because they've lost two of their star drivers that they've built that team around in Will Brown, who we knew was leaving, but now they've lost Brodie Kostecki quite late notice as well. That could be a huge disruption. And the thing is, they've been here before. Only a few years ago, they had Anton De Pasquale, who, like Will Brown, was earmarked to go elsewhere, and he did, but then at quite short notice, Davey Reynolds also left the team, and that really hit that team hard. They had to build back up around Will Brown and Brodie Kostecki over multiple years to get to the championship position they were in last year, and then just as it feels like they're at the peak of their powers in 2023, finally winning those championships, it now feels like that team is on their knees again. This team really does feel like it's starting to develop a bit of a boom and bust culture, and you've got to wonder if that's going to allow them to consistently fight for championships year after year, or if 2023 might be something of a flash in the pan. Of course, on the flip side of that, it is an opportunity for the team to prove themselves, that it's not just the drivers that get the result, that they as a team can give almost any driver a platform to go out and fight for championships. And I'm sure Jack LeBrock and Todd Hazelwood will give it their best shot as well. And then finally, let's talk about the broader championship, which, as I said, is only weeks away. Look, to start with, if Brodie Kostecki is on the sidelines and not driving, I think that would be a huge shame for us as fans. I feel like we've only just scraped the surface of what Brodie Kostecki can provide in terms of entertainment and some of the driving talent he can put on show. So I think it'd be a big shame not to see him challenge and try to retain his title, especially with the team he won the championship with as well. On the flip side, it does feel like this championship, if Brodie Kostecki isn't in there, could be blown completely wide open. I always felt that 2024 was going to be a more competitive season, but it did feel like the teams would really have to overcome Brodie Kostecki and Erebus to take the fight and go for those championships. But if he's not in the picture, it really does feel like it could be just about anyone's game, and there's heaps of teams that have lots of burgeoning potential and could be up there challenging, ready to take that mantle from Erebus. I certainly feel like there's other teams that smell the blood in the water, and it's going to be a feeding frenzy once that championship starts. We'll finish up as always with some of your thoughts. I asked you guys earlier today, right as this news started to break, what you thought of Erebus's potential to keep challenging for the championship this upcoming season if they do indeed have a brand new driver lineup in both those cars. We had 55 people vote. Thank you for your thoughts at such short notice. Only 5% said yes, that Erebus will still fight for a championship this year. 95% saying no, that they're going to feel the pain from this last minute change. Be sure to let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section below. I normally like to have far more articulated videos. This one's being a bit more spontaneous, so please just caveat some of the things I've said. Obviously there's the asterisk there as well, that this news isn't confirmed at this time. And of course, until we know all the details, remember to treat people like your trackside. There's lots of different opinions out there on the sort of management style at Erebus and some of the drivers and their long-term plans as well, but nevertheless I think it's setting us up for a really interesting season both on and off the track as well, and I can't wait to get stuck into it. If you're new here, I will be doing round previews, reviews and plenty of Supercars news like this throughout the year. Until then, thank you for checking in on this video. I appreciate your support, and I will see you in the next video very soon.